The owner of this sled says he can't figure out what's going on with it. He's done so much work to it and it still doesn't run right. So we're gonna figure out what's going on with it today, hopefully. We're gonna try to anyways. This right here is a 1999 Yamaha Vmax 700 triple, and it is a beautiful looking machine. I mean, look at the seat cover. It does have one slight tear there. I think I'd put some stuff on there. Actually, it's got one in the back, but the seat is nice. This thing's only got 3,300 miles on it, which is super low for these redhead triples. Yamaha 700, 3 carbs, 3 cylinders, single pipe. So the current owner of this picked this thing up for a pretty good deal, actually, and he got it. It wasn't running the best. It's still not running the best. It does run. It'll start right up right now, but it pops, skips. It's definitely not running great. And from what I was told, I think they went through the whole tank. They went through the carburetors. They put new. They didn't put new reeds in, but they took them out and they looked at them and they didn't look bad, so they just put them back in with new gaskets. They put new plugs in there. They got another set of carburetors on this thing. They thought it might have been the CDI box, but it wasn't the CDI box, because this is the original CDI box on this, but they ended up swapping it out with a known good one, and that didn't work either. Hence why they call them a red head. It's got a red cylinder head on it, obviously. They made a few different Yamaha 700 triples. This was a red head. They had a black head and a blue one. Now, most people consider this thing to be the most reliable Yamaha 700 triple, as there's hardly any maintenance need to be done. But it's also the lowest horsepower 700 triple that Yamaha made, hence probably why it's the most reliable as well. But no power valves on the front, no exhaust power valves. So this thing is pretty bare bones, but they still make good power. They sound great when they're running right anyways. Oh, get that closed. I actually have a Yamaha Vmax Deluxe 700 with the 700 triple in it. It's silver. Did a video on it last year. I haven't done much with it yet, but that thing does run and drive. That one didn't sound good, but I think it had some clutch issues, if I remember correctly. This thing's got some different skis on it. The track is immaculate. It looks like a brand new track under there. So I don't know what the heck's going on with this thing. I haven't looked at it yet. We're gonna go through it. We'll get it in the garage. I'll fire it up. We can take it for a little ride here and I'll show you what it's doing. Apparently somebody installed reverse on this. It didn't come with reverse. Turn the key on. There's no electric start. There she goes. Choke's on. As you can see, it fired right up. Take that choke off. It's got a little over a quarter of a tank of fuel in it. Hear it popping. Definitely not running great, not opening up very good. You can see it's idled down a lot. Oh, and she died. Let's see if she wants to choke or not. She did want the choke. So it started up with the choke. That tells me it's probably fuel issue. We'll see. Unchoke it. Definitely popping a lot. Definitely not running on 3 cylinders right there. Nope. Is she gonna die? Let's see, can we choke it? Oh yeah, it runs way better with choke on. Way better. I don't know, they said they went through the carburetors, but actually they said they swapped carburetors out. But it definitely seems like a fuel issue. So is it bad gas? Is it bad carburetor adjustment? I'm not sure. Let's bring it in the garage and check her out. All right, got the old girl in here, trying to figure out what's going on with it. I know the owner told me he did a compression test and it showed low readings. I forgot what he said. I think it was like 100 PSI or something. But he said that all his machines were showing that, so, or around that. So probably it was his gauge, but we're gonna check with mine just in case. I really don't think it's a compression issue, but I told him I would check. To me, it seems like a fuel issue. But we got to rule everything out. And it doesn't take long to test this. Pull our plugs. Take a quick look in there. It's a little carboned up. Compression gauge. We'll check the mag side piston first, our cylinder. That tighten down. Hold that throttle wide open. Two poles, we're at like 100 right there. There's 120. Showing about 125 PSI. Check the middle one. Get that throttle locked into place. We use 2 hands here. For quick pulls, we got her up to 130, 135, somewhere around there. Just gonna check this one again with 2 hands. Pull it over a little quicker, we might get up to that 130 mark. Four pulls, we are at 130. Now we just got to do the primary side. Looking good so far. All right, we'll test this side. Four pulls. We are at about 130, 135, somewhere around there. Perfect. So compression is definitely not our issue. I think the next move, remove the airbox, look at the carbs, fuel pump, the whole fuel system, and see what's going on with it. If you look at this pipe, it looks like it's been running lean. You can tell it's kind of grayed out. When these things run lean, they get extremely hot, and that's why your pipe starts getting discolored like that. I wanted to check compression just for peace of mind because the owner said his reading was low, but a lot of compression gauges are all over the place. As long as you take your reading and they're all fairly close to each other, all the cylinders, you know, if you had one that was 100 PSI and then one that was 120, well, then you got a problem with that one that was lower. If your gauge is reading like 100, 105, 102, you're probably okay. Even though those are low numbers, it's probably your gauge that's not reading properly. If you do have low readings all the way across the board, obviously it could be an issue with all of them, but I would double check with somebody else's gauge or get another gauge just for peace of mind. More than likely it's just the gauge. When I was out testing this thing out, that's one thing I always check when I'm driving, if they're carbureted anyways. If they're carbureted and they're running rough, I'll flick the choke on. If it runs better, that means it's starving for fuel. It wants more fuel. So we either have carbs plugged up, something like that. Now, if I'd hit the choke and it runs even worse, that means it's running too rich and we have an overfueling problem. That's definitely not the case with this. This is running lean. So I just noticed, I was looking at these plugs trying to read them, and they actually look like it's running rich, but it could be the oil in there. But if we look at what they're running, that's a BPR9ES. All three of these are BPR9ES, and that's the wrong plug for this machine. This machine calls for a BR9ES, and there is a difference. You know, if we put them side by side, that's a lot closer to the piston than it should be. That's not great. I'm gonna throw some BR9ES plugs in there because I don't want those. I don't think it did touch the piston or anything. It's not that much longer, but we definitely don't want to run the wrong plugs. Now, I don't think having the wrong plugs in there is causing this issue. Like I said, it seems like a fuel issue. It seems like we're not getting enough fuel. So I'm still going to I'll take this Airbox off and then probably the carburetors, but I want to check the fuel lines, fuel pump, see how everything's looking. Pull them out of there. Pull this line out of here because it runs through the Airbox. There's that. That's not going to go with the clamp on. Slide this clutch cover out of the way. Loosen the boots up. Disconnect the CDI box here. Move some of this routing, coil wires. I think I should be able to pop it out of here. Throttle cable. Boy, I don't think I can sneak that airbox. Maybe I can if I pull it out of here. Tight fit. I can get this one over, but I don't think I can get that throttle. What a bad design that is. Pull her off. There, throttle cable's out of the way. I think I could sneak the oil injection cable over, it looks like. Very close though. Yeah, that can get snuck over. And we can pull that out of there. Just taking a look in here. Obviously somebody's changed the fuel lines at one time, so that's good. We got some new fuel lines on there. This is the fuel line coming out of the tank. I'm gonna make sure I can blow through that good. I can hear the air, I can blow through it. I'm getting fuel. Pulling the fuel filter off here to make sure we're not clogged. I was wrong, that's not a fuel filter, that is just an elbow. I think we just pull the carbs off, check them out, because I don't know. We'll see. I know they said they swapped carbs, but still. I gotta go through all my normal checks to make sure I don't miss something. Pull these out of here. Get the choke off there. that out of there. These are ready to come out. Now, there's supposed to be a sensor hooked to that for the throttle, for a throttle safety switch. However, somebody's got it bypassed, which is fine. Take a quick peek at the reeds in here, see if we can see anything. Look okay. Go ahead and drain the fuel out of the bowls here before we open them up. Now that those have stopped pretty much, we can go ahead and open them up. I'm going to check where they have the fuel screw set on these. Half, one, about 1 1/4. Quarter, half, 1 1/4. This one, half, 1, yeah, the same. This one, half, 1. That one was set to 1. Half, 1. We'll go 1 1/4 on that as well. Let's go ahead and open the bowls, see what we find. That is stripped out. Try to get it with a pair of pliers here. Looks like somebody already tried that once. Definitely be replacing that screw. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Check her out. Definitely not the cleanest. Some gunk and debris in there. See it right there. Not a lot, but there's definitely some junk in there. Hopefully we're just clogged up. Go ahead and move to the center one. At least all these screws look like they'll make it. That one might look a little cleaner in the bowl. Check all our jets, make sure we're good. Check our float height. Not horrible. This main jet on this one is definitely miscolored compared to these two. Doesn't mean anything, it just probably means it's been sitting in some bad gas. Start with the pilots. That one. That one. Take a look once I get them out of here. That one. Pop these mains out. far as the main goes on the right side, you can see right through it. Pilot jet. You can see through that one as well. Main over here, clean. 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 Pilot jets, sometimes you can't see through them. They're so small that you got to blow through them, and then once you blow that gas out of the way, you can see, and you can see that one is cleared up. So those were good. Gonna check the sizes here. So as far as the pilot jets go, we're running 45s across the board. And then the mains, these are supposed to be staggered jetting. We got a 142.5, a 142.5, and that is a 142.5 as well. So they have 142.5s in all of them, which the reasoning behind this, the staggered jetting, is because these are actually liquid cooled carbs. They have coolant running through these to help heat up the carbs, and these were disconnected, so they're not running these, which some people do. So, and they say, you know, because it's hotter on one side of the carb than the other by the time it gets to the other, so they run staggered jetting to compensate for the heat of the coolant. But we don't have to worry about that on these because they have them disconnected. So running all 142.5s makes sense. But I am going to check to make sure they are all the same, because I ran into this problem before. That's the perfect gauge right there. We'll check this one. Yep. And this one. And that is yes as well. So I'm kind of wondering. So the fuel in the carburetors didn't look that great. So I just want to take a sample of what we have in the tank here to see if it's really miscolored or what. We'll see. It doesn't look that bad, actually. I'm going to make sure the fuel pump's working. Obviously it's working because it is running, but I just want to see how it's working and whatnot. This is the pulsating line. So I got my own line right here. I'm going to use to get fuel out of here. Let's see how she works here. You can certainly tell our oiler is working. So the oil line feeds right into the fuel pump. Then it gets pumped into the 3 different fuel lines. But definitely well mixed there. So we're definitely getting fuel out of the lines. Are we getting enough? Not sure. I mean, it is pulling. I didn't meter it or anything. I'm gonna check the fuel line, the filter inside the tank, make sure that's okay. So for this, we just have to go fishing in here. Make sure, so we're on this side, so it's gonna be on this side of the tank. I can't see anything, but we should be able to lift it right up out of there. Oh yeah. Here we go. Oh, I had it. I'm not sure if there's enough fuel line to bring it up out it this way, actually. Well, the filter looked fine in there, so I don't think that's our issue. I can blow through it pretty good. I just wanted to see how it looked physically, because if it looked real bad, we'd change it, but it really doesn't look that bad. Drain that out. I probably drained like 5 gallons of fuel, just the one tank. So, I mean, 5 gallons of fuel for peace of mind. That gas might have been good, but I don't know how old it was. I don't know what else was in that tank. I'd rather just drain it. It's what, less than 20 bucks for 5 gallons? So it's good peace of mind. Get the old stuff out. We'll get some fresh fuel in here that we know is good, and we'll eliminate that possibility of having bad fuel. We'll see what the new fuel does and the little bit of tweaking we did on the carbs will clean them out real good. Hopefully she runs a lot better. And we'll put the right plugs back in this thing. There's the new fuel. The float height is slightly... The float height is good on these two. It's a little off on the center one. Oh, maybe not. Float height looks good on all of these. That's not the issue. I'm going to go clean these out really well, and then we'll install them back on there, see how it does. Alright, went ahead, cleaned everything out with Carb Clean real well. Now we're just going to install everything back on these carbs in exactly the spot they came out of. So, pilot jets tighten down first. 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll tighten up our main jets one at a time. 1, 2, and 3. Throw our main jet plastic washer on there. I wished I had a carb kit for this for new O-rings, but these look pretty good actually, so we're going to reuse them. We don't have any choice right now. Gotta reuse them. Come in here, we'll shut our drains. Perfect. Go ahead and set these carbs back in here. Get those lined up. Let's see. Yep, that's in there. Tighten our clamps down. Gonna hook my fuel lines back up. And we got this one. I took this line off the pump, but I'm going to put it back in there. This is the pipe that activates the fuel pump again. I'm going to hook these together here. Just for now anyways, because I'm going to activate this fuel pump and get the fuel primed up to the carburetor, so it'll start a lot easier than cranking with empty carbs. So. It should be plenty for now. So I actually never touched this bolt right here that mounts the oil jug, but it looks like it's loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that up. Now I can hook the hose from the crankcase up to the fuel pump. I'm gonna pop the lid off this airbox to see how it looks. It doesn't look bad from looking in the boots, but we'll see. Looks like it's missing a bunch of screws. Not a huge deal. These things aren't really sealed up that well anyways, any snowmobiles. Of course, you don't really have to worry about dirt or anything like that. In the wintertime, you're just going to worry about snow ingestion. There's that. Actually, that'd probably make it easier to take it on there. Not bad. Well, I'll clean it out anyways. A little oily, if anything. I'll bring this back over here. I'm guessing this is probably the best way to do this. Leave the top off and then install it afterwards. Probably gives you a little more room, I'm guessing, for the cables. Even though it's still tight. It's still tight. Good thing that cable stretches there. I'll just have to make sure it goes back on the right spot. Got that fuel line disconnected already. Tighten up these carburetor boots. There's that. Now I'll throw the lid on. It's still a very snug fit. The oil injection line actually comes apart to be able to get this on here. It's tight. Definitely tight. There. Nice. Go ahead and put these 4 screws back in place on all 4 corners here. The throttle cable hooked back up. So as I was saying, they had the throttle safety switch disabled on this thing. Now, I don't recommend it because it is a safety. It could be a safety issue. But if you want to do it, these are wires right here, the ones that hook to your carb. On the wiring harness side, this is what you have to put together. So you just unplug them from the carburetors and plug them in here. And it's always a good idea to just hook the ones on the carburetor together too, so the connections don't get bad if you ever do decide to put it back to stock. Get that choke cable on there. Alright, that's That's good. Now we can hook up our coil wires. And that one's going to go right there. Snap those into place. Nice. Get some BR9ES in here. One, two, and three. Just hook those wires back together. I was looking at the spare plugs they have in here. They have the right spare plugs in here. BR9ES, BR9ES. They look old, I believe. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, how many pulls do you think? I got like I said, I got fuel primed up into the carburetors. I say it should start on 3 pulls. Key on, kill switch is on, choke is on. Not forgetting anything else, correct? Everything looks good. 1, 2, 3. Oh man, I was wrong. More than I thought. Trying. There she goes. Choke's off right now. Well, I did see some air bubbles in the fuel lines, so might take a second to get rid of those. Still skipping for sure. Still starving for fuel. Full choke, it's running. Whew. Need a little fresh air. Yeah. Not what I was hoping for. Well, obviously, this thing's still not running good at all. Popping like crazy, no power. I think I want to eliminate the carburetors, which I still think it might be in the carburetors. But I have one of these, like I said. I'm going to go steal the carburetors off of it and throw it on here and see how it does. All right, I pulled these off. This is my machine right here. This is the Yamaha Vmax Deluxe. Same engine. This one just had electric start and reverse from the factory. Anyways, let's go throw these on and see how she does. Now, I know these carbs ran good in that machine, so that shouldn't be an issue. Alright, I got my carburetors in there. Same exact things. I did nothing. I pulled them apart, cleaned them up just to make sure. But they're in there. If it's the carburetor issue, this thing should run fine right now. We may have other issues. I don't know. But this will eliminate that anyways. Let's see. Oh. Sounds better, I think. Chokes off right there. Ho ho! I think it's the carburetors. Let's go test her out to make sure though. Alright. Seems to be idling right at maybe 1100 RPMs, which is good. It sounds so much better. Definitely got a sputter there. Might have to clean it out a little bit. I don't know. Let's see here. We'll get her opened up. Oh no. Sounded good for a minute and then just bogged out. Not great. It's running at least. We got low on fuel. I only added, I had like 3 gallons in that can, but I probably don't think that's our issue. I mean, it could be, because she's opening up. Definitely opened up there, but it's boggy afterwards. I still got some fuel in my can over here. Alright, get a little more fuel in there. Guess I only had maybe another couple gallons in that, but it'll help. Shows 1/4 of a tank. It's idling great right now. Come on, girl. You gotta get through this deep stuff here. There we go. There we go. So we're spinning those RPMs now at 8,000. Definitely a bog though when you let off, get back onto it. Might have to look into the clutch and get her opened up. Yeah, opened up. She goes. boggy after. I've checked those plugs. Yeah, right there. I just hear it skipping out. Huh. Honestly, I don't know. Right there, it kind of seems like it's flooding. We'll pull the plug, see how they look. Pipe still looks pretty white, if you ask me. All right. Really doesn't look that bad. Check the middle one. Oh yeah, that one's running lean there on the center. We'll pull the mag side out. You know, that one looks pretty clean. Looks decent. I mean, it's not white or anything. The middle one is definitely white. Pull them all out so you can see them side by side here. And then that one over there looks like she's running rough. And that one on the PTO side looks like it's running rich, if anything. So they're all over the place. I don't know. That looks like a pretty good color to me, that one right there, but I don't know. Probably should have pulled the reeds. Probably pull them now. Those are my carbs anyways. I'm not letting those go. But what's going on with this thing? Like I said, those carbs ran great on my machine. So transferring them over to here, as long as everything else was good on this, it should have, you know, ran just as good as mine in theory. But it's not. We got some more work to do to that thing. The owner was thinking possibly stator. I don't think so. It's running way better. I don't know. Did this thing sit? I don't know how it ran before. It was not running good when he dropped it off here at all. He dropped it off. It fired right up. I brought it over towards the house and it just died. I couldn't start it up again. And then it sat and it started. But I don't know. What do you guys think it is? That's all the time I got today. We'll get back to it. But do you still think it's in the carburetors? Think we got an air leak somewhere? Or do you think it's electrical? Let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed this video, and at least we get to go for a little ride. I'll catch you on the next one.